Welcome to Divorce Diaries Show podcast. I'm Michelle Traina, and today I have not one, but two very special guests. One of them is joining me right now from What the F or WTF Divorce. I like to say the whole fucking name, What the Fuck Divorce. From WTF, welcome everybody. Kristy, you're going to say your last name for me because I don't want to mess it up. And she's beautiful and lovely.
Kristy Teasing is my last name. So I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm glad to get to chat a little bit before Rob hops on and we can have girl talk and then he can pick it up and give his perspective.
Yes, I'm hiring my volume. Yes, I love that. Kristy Teasing, everyone. I said it correctly, right?
Yep.
I love it. She's going to tease it. All right. You probably get this joke from guys. Kristy Teasing. What kind of teasing do you do? That's what people get. God. Is it like that? Is it like, what's wrong with these men?
I used to teach high school English before. And so it's miss teasing. Terrible.
I taught middle school musical theater for a period of time too. So I wouldn't get anything so much on my name, but they would just scream titties.
Oh my!
I have a joke about that. It's titties. Yep. Something about 7th grade boys, and they want to scream titties. And then I finally asked one of my students, like, "Why do you keep screaming that?" And he's like, "Because we all have them." I was like, "Okay." It's true. We do all have them. So welcome, Kristy. Okay, so let's hear a little bit about, if you can give us a little rundown on what made you want to join forces with Rob with WTF Divorce. Now, do you say WTF? Do you say what the fuck? How do you guys go by the name? I would assume you say WTF. Go ahead.
We say WTF Divorce. And actually, randomly in conversation, I think I say the fuck word more than Rob does. Like, he created the brand name WTF Divorce. And sometimes I'm like, shoot, aren't we saying fuck Rob? Like, isn't that part of it?
Yes.
Yes.
And I love it because everybody in divorce kind of has that feeling of what the F, right? There's so many things that you can connect what the F to in divorce. Tell us a little bit about your journey, divorce, and then what connected you to Rob.
Okay. So I was divorced. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I left my marriage while I was pregnant with our second. So I ended up divorced with a newborn and a 2-year-old.
Right.
My current and I, we co-parent pretty well and get along as amicably as we can. But at that same time was when I actually stopped being a teacher. I left the teaching profession when I became a single mom and went out on my own to do some freelancing work and marketing, and met Rob just very organically through Instagram and was like, I love this page. I'm going through a divorce. Like, I work with brands and like creating their systems and creating like their marketing strategies. I have a writing background. Like, what can we do to work together? And I can be a female voice added to the WTF Divorce brand, and we can, grow good together organically. And it's been such a fun ride. Like, I was drawn to him because he brings so much humor to it. Like, it's a very serious subject. And like, let's be unserious about it. Like, please, like, we all know it's a shit show.
I love Rob for that too, because like he doesn't look at me like, oh, she's man bashing. He kind of gets my perspective. We get each other's perspective, and like from the Instagram stuff, like I appreciate him so much for seeing that, and same. I hope he feels the same way back. So I love that you're saying that. Well, you are a mastermind with marketing, and I love that we both love teaching actually, because I love teaching too. To go back to acting and comedy full time. Wait, so tell me a little bit about your So with marketing and WTF Divorce, here's the thing. You guys have grown exponentially. If you could give our viewers, myself, how you did that, because I feel like I'm organically growing very slowly. Like the hope I have is disintegrating in the men that I'll ever find the real love of my life. So like it's very slow.
Yeah.
That analogy was weird. Like my faith in finding the right man is slowly getting lower and lower. And my growth on a social media is just growing as slow. Even though it's good, it's still growing slowly. They're all growing. Everything's getting slow.
I feel like it's consistency and authenticity. Like, we don't beat around the bush of what is going on in all stages of divorce. And like, we're not afraid to kind of push the boundaries. And I do feel like you have a similar brand perspective, like authenticity and consistency. Like, continue to just, share with the people, relate to the people, interact with the people, ask them questions. Like, our audience too, like to some extent, I feel like we can't take credit for it. Like our audience is awesome. They're super engaged and interactive, and like we've really built that trust where they they're willing to share stories with us that we can
Yeah.
use.
Okay.
And yeah, and
So the
they're
interactive part is a huge part in it, I think. And I don't know if, and like, because I do hear what you're saying, I think it is important. So engagement and interaction and how people interact. Yeah, because you guys post a lot of stuff that I want to be like, oh, I want to respond to that right away because that's exactly what I'm thinking. Right.
yes. And I think it's big that that Rob is a divorced single dad and I'm a divorced single mom. So like we get it. And his kids are a little bit older than my kids, so we're hitting like all
Yeah.
spectrums of
All spectrums.
things.
Well,
Um
I think that too, like with Divorce Diaries, when I first originally started, it was like really my post divorce journey that can connect to anyone who has had any, in general, anyone that has had any transition in their life or loss of like themselves, right? So I also poke fun at things that happened to me in my life. And just off of your perspective, how do you think in dating that's hard? But I don't want to shift who I am for that. Now, have you ever come across anyone in your dating world, or just in your personal world in general, that will see you're creating from the divorce and like they have the opposite opinion of you about it, or what was have you ever encountered? I've encountered that a lot.
to be honest, I haven't meshed the two worlds much. Like
Oh,
yes.
got it.
So I'm a little bit abstract. A very funny story related to this once. So obviously, like I'm on the dating apps, like it's the trenches. How else do you find people? Like, so
I
I'm
stand
out.
outside on the street in New York City and I just hold up a sign at this point.
I live in such rural Missouri. Like, if I stand outside, I'm not seeing it. Like, no one's coming back.
Hot truck driver on his way
Well,
somewhere.
we're on the gravel. I mean, no one's out here.
Got it.
My sister might drive by. So,
So
um,
okay, you haven't crossed the worlds yet. I got you.
yes. So, funny story explaining on like trying to explain to someone in a Bumble text what I do. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm an online marketing. Like, I build up brands and work on social media campaigns and da da da. And the conversation just went like really dead and he didn't say anything. And I was like, is that is that a problem? Like that I'm in marketing? And he's like, I'm not interested in people who have OnlyFans. And I'm like, no, I'm like, first of all, there's so many
Oh,
things to
God, come
unpack here.
on. Have an open mind. That guy is so closed minded. Some people might need to like use OnlyFans to fucking feed their kids. So shut the fuck up, asshole. Not
I
you, the
know.
guy.
Right. I know.
You
I
and that
know.
guy.
I know. I'm like, first of all, okay, so not at all what I just said I do. And second of all, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get on OnlyFans and I'm just going to bake cookies. That'll be my OnlyFans
I
page.
love that. Did you do it? Or we're not allowed to talk about it? Okay.
Oh,
We
I should.
I will do it. Hey, here's the thing. I actually think that that guy probably encountered that on the apps and then was somehow because it sounds like he's projecting some story or something that happened to him. Because I do that when I meet a guy that's like, I can't text or call you at certain times. I'm like, are you fucking married? Like, and
Yeah.
they'll be like, no, I just have my kid or something. Those who say something like realistic, but because I have a history of someone that has done that to me, I'll automatically go in to the situation thinking the guy's lying, which is
Yeah.
my own issue, which is why I'm
We're
back in
also
therapy.
traumatized. We're also traumatized.
That's actually what my new therapist said after I got done with the first session. She's like, "Well, you've been through a lot of trauma." And I was like, "Well, thanks for validating that." So so you have okay, so you kept the world separate and you're in the trenches of the dating apps. What has besides the authenticity of this of your content, what do you think is there any other special thing you can think about within posting times? Within should we do all of the platforms? Is there something else that people can do to grow? Just because like I have tried all those things and I'm like still slowly but surely getting there. I'm the engine that could, but it's like we need gas every 5 minutes.
Yes. I know Rob's going to be joining us.
Yes.
Rob has the secret formula.
Okay, so
Like,
maybe we'll talk to Rob about it.
yeah, Rob has the secret formula. He has shared it with me before, and and it's how he like creates the memes and finds the humor and
Okay, right.
it's gonna hit.
Yeah.
So I could speak to it, but he is gonna do a much better job of giving you like the 1, 2, 3 steps.
So we'll talk with Rob about that, but let's before we bring him on for that, let's just talk a little bit about what your advice is with anyone that's first getting divorced and wants to start to date. What are your three top tips? Or like I've been in here 8.5 years single, so I probably still need these tips or advice.
Oh my gosh. Don't do it? No,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
number one. Don't do it.
number one. Um, do you just can't take it too not like you can't take it too seriously. And to be I so my
I don't know
first
what you mean. I write manifestations and wrap them in pink ribbons like my medium says.
I ate the grapes under the table at New Year's Eve this I absolutely ate the grapes. So if that works
What does
out,
that
that
mean?
could be number 10. What? Okay, we
Wait,
missed
hold on.
it.
Viewers, you're hearing it first. A top tip on finding the real love of your life. Kristy teasing, please tell me what eating the grapes under the table mean. I'm going to do it after we get off this call. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Well, it doesn't we missed the time. So it's a New Year's Eve thing. And it's how you manifest like love and abundance in the new year. You're supposed to I think it's a Spanish tradition
I love
for
Spanish men. That's all I
yes,
date is Latin men and Spanish, Latin and
beautiful.
Spanish.
So, okay, I think time is a construct. You could do it tonight and it was probably the same thing as New Year's Eve.
I'll pretend it's New Year's Eve in my head. Go ahead. Okay.
Okay.
So,
So you sit underneath the table, and when from 11:59, when it strikes midnight and you're going into New Year's, you're supposed to eat one grape, 12 grapes for each month in 12 seconds. And they should be green grapes. And you're under a table, a folding table, a kitchen table, any kind of table. And you gotta like I practiced a couple days ahead of time.
I can stuff a lot in my mouth. Do you have to eat them one at a time?
Well, I mean, safety wise.
Oh,
They just
yeah,
have to
I
go
wasn't gonna just stuff them all in my mouth.
they just have to go in there individually. So you couldn't put 3 in at a time. And you got to think about each month and what you want. And that is supposed to, it's according to, again, I think it's Spanish tradition, manifest love and abundance for the
January, bring me some tax returns and a cup of coffee. February, bring me flowers and a text back. March, bring me a St. Patrick's Day 4-leaf clover and the promise to take me to the next wedding I'm invited to. So I love that. Okay, that's an amazing top hint. I love that. This is great. I never knew of that.
that's number one. And again, time is a construct. Everyone can do it tonight. And it would, I think it's the same.
Well, I love this. Thank you for sharing. This is really amazing. So wait, I'm going to do this tonight. What would you say? Okay, so you have been divorced in a total of how many years? Only like
Three.
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 I've been 8.5. Is there something wrong with me? Because like I keep putting it on myself because I know it's kind of a split thing where I have to be doing some of this myself. I have been single. I have had like relationships with men
Mhm.
that are ironically some in relationship situationships with men I've met through Instagram in the divorce world, who I'm sure we may even, I probably shouldn't say this on air, but it's okay. Whatever. That's how I met them. And then we've like connected and then it's like, I'm not available to commit to you right now. So I keep running against these emotionally unavailable men. And it's like literally the same man, different costume. Are you experiencing this at all? And and we'll also ask Rob the same question of why this may be with men. Because I feel like women experience it more than men with the
Yeah.
emotional unavailability.
Yes, 100%. That hits like they're all emotionally unavailable, apparently. In my like
They
I
pop
have
out of their mom's womb and she's like, here, fend for yourself. Like, what the fuck? That
I
doesn't happen.
mean,
What get it?
I am so committed to like my youngest is a boy, so I have one son. And yes, and I am like, you're gonna do better. Like this poor man, he's almost 2 years old now. And I'm like, listen, let's talk about emotional availability. And he's like, Mom, I have no words.
Repeat after me. I will call her by her real name.
Here's your affirmations. Like my daughter's early, or my daughter's, excuse me, the oldest. And so her affirmations are like, I am beautiful. I am confident. I am kind. And like my youngest, my son's affirmations, like, I'm going to call her back. I can cry.
I will commit after the first date. I know that's a little intense, but do you find it's hard to? I really love that though. Actually, I think that because I don't have any boys, I just have a girl. But was raised by an amazing father who was monogamous with my mom for 45 years. They were like this romance, like cut like partners, and like I am in the last couple of months really struggling with understanding why I haven't found the right partner in ever. Like even my ex-husband, and I don't think we were the right match. I think it was more of a what was happening for me, what I needed with like my past trauma. And what do you find when with your previous with your marriage and now that you think like has shifted your perception on how you choose the right partner? Has there been any shifts? I know I clearly am failing because I'm not doing nothing differently. I just keep failing at it. I keep choosing the same person. So I'm back in
Yeah.
therapy for that reason. But what about you? What do you think, has anything shifted so that you find a partner that meets all of your, non-negotiables?
I I think that my security and being at peace alone is like done wonders for my standards and my expectations in a partner. Like my
Hmm.
life is really good. Like I am very happy. I love my kids. I love my career. I have a nice routine and I know that I bring a lot of value to a relationship and I'm very happy how I am. Like I'm very happy here. So I think it is like that getting to know myself more in the process of divorce, getting to know myself more, being single, being a single mom, like seeing what I'm capable of with raising my kids on my own has just increased my expectations for a partner. Like you better come in and add benefit to my life. Like not even like, oh, you came in and met me at the same level. No, no. Like you better come in and like increase my happiness because we're so good right now. Like we're
Yeah.
so good. And I think that that increases expectations and standards.
I love that being peace with your life in the alone fame. And I've phrase, right? Like I like being alone. I like handling my business, but it's never clicked in for me like I mean I am happy alone, but then there's like this longing when I meet someone and I crush on, and then like I'm sitting and waiting by the phone like, well, what's gonna happen next, what's gonna happen next, what's gonna like, because some people are like, Michelle, you need to just let it happen, Michelle, you need to just take it slow. I'm like, I can't. I honestly feel like the kind of person I am, I can't sit still or not focus on it, and I guess I'm working on that. But I second I get a crush, I'm like writing it out, I'm talking about it, I'm daydreaming, and it's really annoying.
Yes. I think so. I also have a theory that Rob and I have discussed before with the dating apps and like how they kind of create this like excessive attention and a validation. So this sort of spins off what you're saying and just this like spiral of like waiting for the text and needing the contact. And I think that this is what happens. And maybe this is what happens on the male side too. Like Rob can speak to this as well. But I think with like the dating apps, it's so easy to have multiple conversations going on for either party, like the male or the female in this situation. And somebody gets busy. So you pick up a conversation with somebody else, or then you develop a crush on somebody, but you get busy one day and they are like, and they're bored and they're looking for a text and they're like, she hasn't said anything. And so they're back on the apps because they can get in and
Ugh,
they can, you know what I'm saying?
this
Like,
gets so confusing. It's too much. I'm
right.
not even on the apps. We're bringing in Rob. He's going to come and weigh in on this. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in Rob Roseman. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. Everybody. I And here he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's connecting to audio because we're fancy and we're using Zoom. Hi, Rob.
What's up, Michelle?
Am I saying your last name right? Rosman or Roseman?
Roseman. You
Ooh,
got
listen
it.
to your baritone. Okay. Roseman. I love it. I love, love, love it. Rob Roseman is the other teammate, co-owner, whatever you guys want to call yourselves, the other king behind the magic, and Kristy, you're the queen behind the magic of WTF Divorce. I like to say what the fuck divorce because that's all I say every time I see your brand. I love it. I've been following you for a while. You've been super supportive of my content, and I was telling Kristy how I just love that Rob never ever said oh, she's man bashing. You kind of connect to how I see my stories and my experiences. Love that. Rob, we're going to get into it. And just for everybody who's listening, I'm going to piece a little bit of the me and Rob section a little bit later so we can talk now. I have both of you on here about the dating stuff. We're talking about apps, okay? I'm not on the apps. I have anxiety about the amount of messaging I have to do with all the stuff I do with social media. From a male perspective, I'm assuming you want monogamy. If you want a monogamous relationship from a male perspective, how do you juggle finding that on the dating app? What is the number 1 or 2 tips that you have for us? And then we're going to talk about what me and Kristy were saying about it.
Well, don't ask me. I'm just failing left and right at relationships. I think they are
Yes! High five it.
I always tell people the dating and the meeting and even the beginning part of a relationship is hard enough, but you can do it. But then when you get to the long-term monogamous relationship, I got, next Thursday on my co-parenting calendar. See you then. Good luck with this. I'm still wondering how people do it.
Okay, so do you think, and Kristy was mentioning how so I don't use the apps, but I feel this in the text messaging. If you meet somebody and you both have a crush on each other, but then you get busy, the other person may interpret that as, oh, they're not interested, I'm going back on the apps. Do you experience that at all?
Yes, and I have been guilty. It sounds terrible, but I've been guilty about sliding back to the apps when you get that disconnect because you're like, what are we? Are we dating? Or are we boyfriend, girlfriend? And that thing, it's like a drug in your pocket. I mean, I think the dating apps, while trying to have a relationship in today's world, is completely unprecedented because when you didn't have it, you were you're not just randomly going up to strangers at the grocery and being like, hey, you're cute. You want to, or, getting messages.
I do that, but.
Well, you're braver than we are. So
I will stand outside with a sign in New York. I was just telling Kristy, I'm going to be standing outside with the sign in New York City that says swipe right on me just to see what happens because A, it's content for the web series, and B, I can't handle going the app. So I got to kill 2 birds with 1 fucking stone.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a guy's app versus obviously you know what a woman's app looked like. They're completely different. I imagine you guys, cute girls, your barrage with guys just swiping right. Now you got to filter through it. Guys, unfortunately, we're probably swiping right a lot more frequently and we're getting a lot less. So it's a different experience, I think, on both sides.
It is a different experience, and if you meet somebody in person, then you want to know, well, what apps are they on? And then it becomes a very scary situation, right?
I mean, it's terrible, but I have been outed as so my friend saw you on the apps. I thought we were going out, and I knew it was childish, but I was like, well, what are you doing on the apps? She told me, she's like, I saw you on there. So I was
saw you first, boo.
Exactly. It wasn't good.
Okay, so all right, but so if I want to do a little bit of a flash round because I have I feel like we all have these experiences where dating's overwhelming, okay? So let's just go through. I have some of Rob, you gave me some question ideas. I want to just throw out some topics that I've been through and I hear both of your opinions since you guys are the experts, since you are the king and the queen of WTF divorce. Okay, so it's going to be WTF or WTF, what was the other one? WTF, or let's say what could be another word?
FML. That's they're kind of the same thing, but I say that a lot.
WTF or love. Let's just do that. WTF or love. Okay, you ready? So I'm going to give you the scenario, and Kristy and Rob, we'll go Kristy first, then Rob. Okay, you're going to respond with WTF or love. Okay, ready? First topic. I text a guy a nude, and he responds 5 hours later. WTF or love?
What the fuck? Yes, because if you got to learn how to make somebody a priority. So I don't like a 5-hour gap. That's a long time.
Rob, what do you think? Yes, agreed.
This has been something I've dealt with. I think it is a little bit of WTF, but also you need to communicate like when I'm at work. What if he's at his job and he can't
No, it
text you
was
back?
nighttime. It
So
was 7:30 on a Saturday night.
it's a little bit of WTF.
Okay, great. Good. He never asks me out on a weekend. WTF or love?
He never asks you out on a weekend? There's something. WTF. Where's he going? To his other life he has?
He'll claim like he didn't know I was available, but he never asked. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, that's a WTF as well. Unless his co-parenting schedule is like really weird, which usually you have at least one weekend night.
His son is 21.
I mean, he might need to.
His son
hang
doesn't
out
talk
with
to him.
No, that's a WTF. He's out.
Okay. Here's another one. Here we go. He will not date me because of a religion. WTF or love?
WTF.
Yeah, I gotta agree. WTF.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
what religion? What religion is he?
I was raised Catholic. He's like it's like borderline. He's not Orthodox Jewish, but he is like conservadox. So it was a whole problem for him to be with me. I talked about this with Noam a lot on our episodes last year, and he like kind of guided me away from the guy. He's like, you need to get away.
Look, once you have kids, I feel like that is a completely different topic. Now it's like, you do you. I mean, I'm not trying to, what's the big deal?
Right. Okay, let me give you another one here. He turned his phone off because he was at Dave Chappelle. WTF or love?
I feel like that's valid to turn your phone off at a comedy show. I think that's valid. Some shows you have to put your phone away.
Exactly. Love. He like zip, you got to turn in your phone. That one was okay.
Yeah. Okay, love. Okay.
Love.
All right, here's one. Now this is a new one. He paid for everything on a hangout night. Wasn't a date. We were just getting to know each other. Paid for everything and also asked me to pull over so we could have another 30 minutes to talk. But I haven't really he hasn't really texted with me. So do we what TF or do we love? It's not dating yet, just getting to know each other.
Are you in a car together? I missed the pulled off.
Sorry. So we had a night out, hanging out. He paid for everything. I drove back to the apartment because it's in New York City, and he told me to pull over so we could have more time to finish our conversation. WTF or love?
But hook up in the back seat.
Yeah, he never went, but like I haven't really talked to him since. This was on Saturday.
I mean, I'll say love. What's wrong with he wants a little more time? Unless you're not interested, it's he's making an effort.
I'm very interested, but I don't want to push it because we know Michelle. I will jump onto him like a koala bear on its mom's pouch.
We are guilty of that. When you finally meet somebody that's cool, you're like, oh my God, this person is not a psychopath. And yes, and it's like down girl. Like, yeah, it's hard to do.
What do you think? WTF or FML? I mean, love.
I think love. I love that he spent the extra time with you. But Saturday to Wednesday, that's a separate scenario. I don't love that.
He has stated to me he's emotionally unavailable right now, but not about me, about like his past. Like he does not know I have a crush on him. I guess saying it on my podcast is not a good idea either, but he doesn't know I'm talking about him.
He's not listening, Michelle. Let's be honest.
All right. You know what, Rob? See, we'd make a great.
Well, you know what, though? You've got to like, that's the thing. I think we both kind of play chicken. We're like, well, I'm not texting her if she's not texting me. And then I don't want to, at a certain point, I think you do need to, you don't want to be like the blue text psycho. We've all been there. But sometimes you're like, hey, haven't heard from you got to be the bigger person. If that turns him off, it's probably not a thing.
So that's why I don't want to, like right now, I'm just keeping it cool because we've both shared our past. And I've heard him say enough times that he needs some time alone because he's went from like serious relationship after divorce, like to 2 serious relationships. And I'm like, and he just ended one a month and a half ago. So I'm like, ugh. But he reached out to me before we hung out, and so I was like, oh well, so the whole situation is like me just tiptoeing around. Now I'm gonna go to your question ideas. Okay, here
I've
we
been
go.
that guy, Michelle, by the way. Like I have been that guy, and
Oh,
there is truth to the emotionally unavailable, whatever that means. I mean, that's a nuanced thing, but also like the right out of a relationship, there's always like they need a cooling off time, but you can't control when you meet somebody too. So sometimes
yes.
it's like, I wish I would have met you in 6 months from now when you got that out of your system. So we're
So
screwed is the bottom line.
I'm screwed. So I was telling Kristy, I feel like all I do is meet men in that time period, and it's really frustrating me. I was like literally crying every time I've met him. I met him twice in person. He's a really nice. He's not a dick. Like he's not a douchebag. Where when you meet a guy, Kristy, and they're like checking out other women, and you're like, they're looking around. You're like, what are they doing? He was just. You get the vibe like this guy's not a dick, and it's weird because I've only dated dicks, like real big dicks, not in literal sense. Well, some in literal sense, but others in figurative sense are just dicks and douchebags. And he's not. I don't get that vibe at all. Like I don't get a shady vibe. You know what I'm talking about, like shadiness. So what do you think? Like, do you think that it's like I have to wait, or what if he meets somebody while I'm waiting?
I don't think you wait. I think if he wanted to, he would. My mentality of dating is if he wanted to, he would, and if he wants somebody else will, and I'm not gonna waste my time here. So you got you got what did I see? There's a like I don't know. There's a TikTok trend right now that's like the mob boss or the mob wife mentality. Like
Oh well, yeah.
we're in our villain era. Like we are not gonna let these men treat us this way anymore. Michelle, you move next.
You're right.
Next.
All right, so
I don't know. I'll chime in here. Like
yes.
it sounds like you're just waiting for him to you're trying to like have him read your mind. Like, what is it terrible to like send out a text? Obviously, like you can really screw up a text too. You know, you could be like, what's the deal? You're not calling me? If I get that, I'm gonna
Oh
lose
no.
interest fast. But if you do
Right.
a cool one, hey, we haven't talked in a while. Can we put something on the calendar? If he blows that off, forget
Yeah.
it. But
I
you gotta
yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm gonna wait a sec because he had. I'm gonna wait because I tend to like jump the gun, and I sent him a message the other day because he's like, "Let me know how the show goes." But then we had texted after that, and I didn't want to like be too much, and I saw he liked a lot of my stories, so I wrote him a message that said, "Oh, I'm listening to this for my 5 a.m. Writers Club," and I sent him a picture of it. It was a song that we both liked, and he wrote "nice!" exclamation point, and that was it. But he's not like a writer; like he doesn't like write a lot.
sounds like your type.
Yes.
I don't know. I think like judging, I think it's like it makes things very challenging. I have written that nice, and then I've heard back like that's all you said was nice, and I was like, I meant like nice. Like you don't get tone on it, and you can really we just jump to conclusions, and we're all looking for like reasons to end
We
things. So
we
it's
are.
just like
All right, so wait, exactly. You guys, I love you both. This is amazing. This is like the episode I've been waiting to record with WTF divorce in a long time. And I see that my Zoom, because I'm broke and I have not broke, but I'm a single mom on a budget kind of shit. I don't have the pro account. So we have 3 minutes left. And I also want to pick your brain, Rob. So we might go on a separate link, if that's okay with you, just to talk
cool.
about how you really grown WTF divorce into this amazing content train. Okay, so this is your guys' turn for the flash room questions. These are inspired by Rob, that he wrote them. I really love them. So we'll go Kristy and then Rob. You got a flash round. So the first thing that comes to your head, I might even throw in a new spice in between. Here we go. We'll go Kristy, Rob. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the first word that comes to your mind when you think about divorce?
Freedom.
Rob.
I'll say hard.
Not in a good way, hard. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about co-parenting? Kristy. That's a good sound.
Yeah, that's it.
What about you, Rob?
I'll say shit show.
I was going to say shit, too, because I just cleaned my ex-husband's toilet bowl, because when I dropped my daughter off, he left shit in the toilet bowl. Ugh, gross. Yep, that's wonderful, isn't it? What is all right, we'll reverse our order. What is the hardest part about co-parenting? Rob.
I mean, the schedule, all the back and forth, and the like keeping track of it. It's insane.
I'd say my ex-husband, Kristy.
Similar. The having to care about this person's life still when you're like, I don't care about your life.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. The being. Oh, that's so. I'm so happy for you that you got engaged.
That's good.
What's the first word? What is the first word that comes when you think about dating apps, Rob?
Addictingly fun, but a problem.
Good, Kristy.
He kind of still has to say problematic.
My first word is ugh. What's one piece of advice you'd give your former self before you got married? I would say don't do it, Rob.
I would say have the uncomfortable talks earlier.
Anal. No kidding. I'm sorry. I can take that one out. Okay, Kristy.
Stop ignoring the red flags.
Boom. Okay, guys, we're going to be right back. Rob's going to give us some information on how you can grow your divorce brand, or he's going to help me because I'm slowly growing myself into nothing. So, no, I'm just kidding. All right, we'll be right back. Kristy, thank you so much for joining. Guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Rob, Kristy, I'm going to just pause the recording.